There's a sketch, I mean, two of them going, I didn't do that. Yeah, well, you and that, you see, yeah. And I heard you, okay. You always gotta replace something. We have there a couple of years. I don't know, but a new structure. Yeah, it's for the fullness. Like, yeah, or to be by 12 or something. What is that? No. Okay. Yeah. And he's drunk. Yeah. I have to. Oh, yeah, okay. Just took my. I may find out. Please.
Yeah. Instead of this Wednesday, next Tuesday.
Where the normal people sit, oh, way back here.
Microphone?
Is there any way we can test the sound system of this ahead of time? We have somebody sitting in one of these spots we can listen. Asking if they participate in the test, and let's see if they hear.
I got
Pay attention. Somewhere along the line, we were doing this public meeting.
Thank you for unmuting. Can you speak or say something so we can ensure that both ends, like we can hear you as well as you can hear us?
Test 1, 2, 3, 4. Test 1, 2, 3, 4.
We have our sound at 100%, so if you could speak again, please.
Test 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay. We can hear you. Of course, we got the noise here too, but we'll do our best to.
Is there a volume control for the TV? Like, what's that?
There's a remote control here. I know the one at the fire hall, you actually gotta use it to bring up the
There.
There we go.
Want to give that another try? We got a TV that may be listening now.
Test, 1, 2, 3, 4.
The TV is working right now. Touch wood.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So glad you came.
I think I fixed.
Oh.
I said,
I said remote, I said fire hall, do the same way.
come on.
We're both Mike.
But I think yeah, let's say Mike, you gotta keep guys.
Probably a bigger training class over at the fire hall than what we have here, isn't it?
No, it's actually about the same.
Yeah, okay. We can throw one of the vehicles there.
Too many distractions, we'll be measuring it there later.
But how's everybody today? All set for Christmas? Hanukkah?
It's happening even as we speak.
I know. I realize that day 3, is it? No, December the 8th, and this is 11th.
I was away on the weekend.
So it didn't start because you were away.
Well, it started before I left. And
There you go. So technically into day 4, I guess.
I
8th,
saved a
9th,
fortune
10th,
on
11th.
that.
Presents just keep on flowing. I think there's probably gonna be a few more chairs put out, because I see at least 2 more people standing at the door and grabbing their last few minutes.
I really was supposed to be coming over.
You did call in because, she was on the main checking the Zoom connection that wasn't right, but you called in a couple hours ago and then
Well,
I
I
took care of it.
bonus for you gotta go buy a Christmas tree.
Special privileges.
Kimberly is coming. Coming in the door. Hi, how are you? Just so you know, we have the public meeting that starts at 4 o'clock, which is related to right of ways and on Wolf and how there's one for each and that. And then the regular meeting will start at 4:30. And that, so we have to stick to that time, or else the people on Zoom don't get on in time for the meeting. That's all. There'll be a bathroom break or we'll go to school late. I need to follow in.
Oh, he'd be on regular.
There you go. Yeah, yeah, that. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay.
Who's that?
And-
Your deal number.
And more people are coming. More chairs. Is the door locked on them? I'll see if we can bring in somebody else.
I'll send it.
Why I thought he was using another one.
Yeah. That is, the fire chief. Comment on it.
4 o'clock. Are you ready?
Yes.
Good evening. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Township of Frontenac Islands. We'll begin this meeting by acknowledging that we are meeting on the land that has been under the stewardship of the Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, and Huron-Wendat for time immemorial. As settlers, we are grateful for the opportunity to meet, live, and play on this land, and we thank all generations of Indigenous peoples from the past to the present who currently continue to extend the sharing of this land with us. We recognize and deeply appreciate their ongoing connection to this place. We also recognize the contribution of the Métis, Inuit, and other Indigenous peoples who now make this region their home and who have both shaped and strengthened this community and our province and country as a whole. As settlers, this recognition of the contributions and ongoing importance of Indigenous peoples to the area must be clearly and overtly connected to our collective commitment to make the promise and the challenge of truth and reconciliation real in our communities, and to bring justice for murdered and missing Indigenous women and girls across the country. Now, this is a public meeting in accordance with the Planning Act, so is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest or general nature thereof? Seeing none. Purpose of this meeting is related to a zoning bylaw, and I hand this meeting over to Dimitri.
Thanks, Madam Mayor, and good evening, members of council. For everybody in attendance today, my name is Dimitri, and I am one of the planners at the County of Frontenac. So the county provides day-to-day planning services for the Township of Frontenac Islands. Before I start my presentations, I have to read the procedure of for the public meetings as required by the Planning Act. So just bear with me for a moment. This evening, council will be conducting 2 public meetings under the authority of the Planning Act. These items include a zoning bylaw amendment for a property located at 314 Baseline Road on Howe Island, and for the creation of a right-of-way parcel at 262C 13th Line Road on Wolf Island. The following statements apply to both meetings. Personal information collected as a result of these public meetings is collected under the authority of the Municipal Act, the Municipal Freedom of Information and Protection and Privacy Act, also known as MFIPA, the Planning Act, and all other relevant legislation, and will be used to assist in making a decision on these matters. All names, addresses, opinions, and comments may be collected and may form part of the minutes that will be available to the public. Questions regarding the collection should be forwarded to the township clerk. Any person who wishes to receive a copy of the minutes of a public meeting, a copy of any planning report, or notice of council's decision on any applications should indicate their full name, address, postal code, and other relevant contact information to the clerk prior to leaving the meeting. If a person or a public body does not make oral submission to the public meeting or make a written submission to the Township of Frontenac Islands before council makes a decision on the planning application, the person or public body is not entitled to appeal the decision of the Township of Frontenac Islands to the Ontario Land Tribunal, and may not be added as a party to the hearing of an appeal before the Ontario Land Tribunal unless, in the opinion of the tribunal, there are reasonable grounds to do so. Please note that only specified persons under the Planning Act are permitted to appeal certain types of applications. The procedure of the public meeting will be as follows. The planner will explain the purpose of the public meeting and provide a brief overview of the applications and summary of the review and recommendation. The applicant will be provided with an opportunity to provide any comments that they have about their application. And members of council will then have the opportunity to ask questions of the applicant and the planner. The chair will then inquire if there are any members of the public who wish to make an oral or written submission on the proposed application. If so, you should announce your name and mailing address before providing your comments. Please be aware that anyone wishing to address the applications should direct their comments and questions through the chair, which is the mayor this evening. So I will start with zoning bylaw amendment Z0223H. This zoning bylaw amendment is located at 314 Baseline Road on Howe Island. This zoning bylaw amendment has two purposes. Purpose one is to rezone a portion of the approved lots from rural to limited service residential to ensure that the entirety of the new lots that were recently approved by consent applications are located within the same zone, and to rezone a portion of the subject lot from limited service residential and rural to a site-specific recreational open space exception zone, or RE1, to remove all permitted recreational open space uses, and then limit the development to only a dock for water access and an accessory structure that does not contain any habitable space, that is to be located at minimum 5 meters from the interior side yard setback. So just some details, next slide. Just some details on the application. Council approved consent applications B0607080923H on September 11th of this year for the creation of 3 new waterfront lots and a new private lane or a right-of-way easement. The condition of these applications required the rezoning of the subject lands in order to ensure that those consent applications met the intent of the official plan and zoning bylaw. So this evening, we're not dealing with the lot creation or the right-of-way. That has already been decided on by council, and the appeal period for those has passed. What we're dealing with today is a technical zoning bylaw amendment to address the conditions associated with those lot creation and right-of-way creation applications. So this is more of a map redrawing exercise. The reason why this rezoning is required is because the waterfront lots that are currently that were approved under application B07, seen in blue on the slides behind me, or and application B08 and seen in orange, as well as the retained land seen in black, only do not cover the entire portion of that property. So in order for that property not to be split zoned between LSR and RU, we need to rezone it to LSR, or at least rezone the southern portion of those lots, as you'll see in the next image. The second portion of the rezoning is associated with application B0623H, and that is associated with the large property that has a 30-meter waterfront access only parcel, and that's seen on the basically on the right-hand side of the screen, just to the left of the red boundary of that property. So yes, right there, Vanessa, thank you. So based on our discussions and with the applicants and our interpretation of the township official plan and the zoning bylaw, we were planning staff were of the opinion that this parcel could not be used for a development parcel because the frontage was just too narrow. So we, as part of the consent application for the creation of this lot, we required this portion to be rezoned to that recreation open space site-specific zone to only allow for the construction of a dock and an accessory structure. And all of that, those specific conditions and those recommendations were then approved by council on the September 11th meeting. So next slide, please. As part of the consultation portion of this application, we circulated the application to the Cataraqui Region Conservation Authority. They identified that there's no floodplain or natural hazards identified within this area. There is a slope erosion hazard that is located within 30 meters of the shoreline. However, because new development cannot take place within 30 meters of the shoreline, that natural hazard is not necessarily significant in the context of establishing a development envelope. We also we did not circulate to the septic approval authority, to the township of South Frontenac, who was the approval authority at the time, because, we already dealt with septic, approvals, during the lot creation application. So there's no need to circulate them on this because the zoning bylaw amendment wouldn't have an impact on septic services. As of this evening, we've had one neighbor who had asked for clarifications with respect to the zoning bylaw amendment itself, as well as the process. But we have not received any negative feedback or any I guess rejection of the application from nearby landowners that were circulated on the file. Just a point of clarity here, because I had a question earlier this evening about what is exactly being shown on this image here on this map. So the property that we're discussing here, the eastern side, the right side of that property ends on the right side of that green parcel. To the right of that is a separate property, but it just splits zone between limited service rural and rural. But that's that's a different property in itself. So the property that we are focusing on today is just to the left of that, and that encompasses this green portion, the hashed orange portion, and the LSR that's just above the hashed orange portion. So just wanted to provide clarity on that. The draft bylaw itself, is included in the staff report. So basically what it does is that it, as I discussed, it extends the LSR zone further south to make sure that those two new waterfront lots plus the retained lot are covered entirely by the LSR zone. And as you know, the township zoning bylaw only allows lots to be created on rights of way if they are zoned accordingly. In this case, they have to be zoned LSR, so it makes no sense for them to be for a portion of those lands to be left as rural zoning. The other part of the draft bylaw repeals all the permitted uses of the RE zone and instead creates a new zone called RE1. And that zone only permits one accessory structure and a dock, or accessory building and or structure and a dock within the RE1 zone portion of the lands. And it requires that any accessory structure that is constructed on that portion of the property to be located a minimum of 5 meters from the interior side yard of the adjacent parcels. This is an increase to the other accessory structures that's permitted by the zoning bylaw, which allow for an interior side yard setback of 1 meter. So the RE1 zone basically states that you can only have one accessory structure in there, a dock, and they will have to be a minimum of 5 meters from the side yard, from the side lot lines. All other provisions on the township zoning bylaw with respect to accessory structures or being away from natural hazard areas and the like are applicable within this draft bylaw. So overall, planning staff are of the opinion that the rezoning conforms to the township zoning bylaw, the township and county official plan, and the provincial policy statement. And our recommendation is that if no new issues arise at the public meeting, that the application be approved in accordance with the report. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions, Councilor Saunders?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Dimitri, thank you for your report. You may have, I believe you have clarified some confusion I had around the that section, the RE1 section. So question, I believe you said any structure, let me just back up a second. So as I understand right now, the only thing that could be would be permitted on that waterfront side of it is a dock and a building.
That's correct, yeah.
Okay. And you said the building has to be 5 meters from the boundary or from the property line?
Yeah, from the two lot lines.
So roughly how wide is that section that?
So through the mayor, that specific waterfront access parcel, that green parcel is about 30 meters wide. So you've got 20 meters to play with in the middle of that, 20 meters of wood.
Okay, so, thank you. I think that's all my question.
Councilor Acton?
I don't have any questions, no.
Okay. Councilor Holden?
No questions. I think we answered them in September when you were here. Thank you.
And Councilor Flanagan?
No questions, thank you.
Okay, and just for my clarity in that, the green that shows there is actually basically an extension of the regular driveway that is currently at that site, correct? Or is that moved over to the left, dividing it down?
So, Madam Mayor, the green portion is a waterfront access portion for the large lot, but the driveway, so the driveway that we looked at on, the September meeting is still gonna be that L-shaped parcel. So, Vanessa, can we go to slide 2, please?
That catches up to me here.
Yeah, no worries.
It won't go back for whatever reason.
You have, you went a little too far.
That one, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. So
Okay, so I,
the right of way, is that green portion. Well, yeah, there you go. The right of way is that green portion.
Yeah.
But, the right of way does not, the right of way itself does not extend to the waterfront, but the, that waterfront parcel, I mean, I think it does have a portion of a driveway there right now, but it's not used as a right of way. So
okay, and the people that had concerns raised before, I drove down their driveway today, it looked like no one was there, they look like it's a seasonal type of cottage. Are we comfortable that they are aware?
We're aware.
There we go. I want to know. Okay, and now the public, do you have any questions? Seeing none? And I have a mover for that the application for zoning bylaw amendment file number Z0223H for Park Lot 2, North Range, Howe Island, Township of Frontenac Islands be approved, and that zoning bylaw number 15-013, 2013 of the Township of Frontenac Islands. The Frontenac Islands, Frontenac, rights, as amended, be further amended as per attachment 1, draft bylaw and schedule A to amend zoning bylaw number 15-2013, and that council determined that in accordance with the section 34(17) of the Planning Act, no further notice is required prior to the passage of the bylaw, and that the amending bylaw be presented to the council for all 3 readings. Can I have a mover for that? Councillor Ackley, and a seconder? Councillor Saunders? Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next.
okay, so, application B1323W is proposing to create a new, right of way across an existing property. And both of these properties right now receive access from a right of way that provides gets access from 13th Line Road. So it's a right of way for a driveway so that it can access the existing right of way that fronts onto 13th Line Road. The right of way that's being proposed to be severed here is going to be up to 6.1 meters or 20 feet in width on that existing right of way. And it doesn't have any waterfront. It's going to have an area of about 185 square meters or about 2,000 square feet. The retained parcel, or the parcel that's left over after this right of way is created, is going to have about 28 meters or 92 feet of frontage on that existing right of way. About 32 meters of waterfront, or about 133 feet, with an area of 0.22 hectares, or just over half an acre. The benefiting parcel, the parcel that's going to be receiving this right of way so that they can have access to their property, has currently a frontage of 11 meters or 38 feet on the right of way. It's got 31 meters of waterfront, and it's quite small at an area of 0.13 hectares or 0.32 acres. All of these parcels are designated as rural area and shoreline area under the township official plan, and they are zoned as limited service residential. So it makes sense since they are on a right of way. Can you switch to the next slide, please? So what this image is showing you is, so in the purple, that's the parcel, the purple hash is the parcel that's gonna be receiving the, right of way that's proposed to be severed off of the retained lands. And the right of way itself is, shown in that bluish green type of hash. And the purpose of that is for, so that the property owner of the purple lot can build a driveway, or at least recognize the driveway that's already there, so that they can access their lot. Right now, the benefiting parcel is quite narrow, and it's quite small, so this right of way parcel, in our opinion at least, will give some more land area, in case the septic system fails and it needs to be replaced for the benefiting parcel, and will allow the, owner of the benefiting parcel to access their lands without encroachment onto the retained lands. Now, you may have noticed that I said that the width of the right of way is going to be up to 6.1 meters or 20 feet. That's usually what we want the right of way to be. However, when I visited the site, if you switch to the next slide, when I visited the site, there's a garage there on the right-hand side. So we just want to make sure that we're staying 1 meter away from the edge of that garage. So the right-of-way parcel, I measured, it should be close to that 20 feet, but the surveyor will determine where that property line is and what the final width of the driveway right-of-way is going to be. But we need to make sure that we're maintaining at least a 1 meter setback from that garage, so that we are still in line with the requirements of the zoning bylaw. And this application, the next slide, please. This application was not circulated to the CRCA. We discussed the file with them during pre-consultation, and he said that this is outside of their commenting area, and it's not going to be subject to any erosion hazards. So there is no need for them to comment. We did not circulate this to the septic approval authority because this is not going to impact any existing septic services on either lots. And we did not receive any comments from the public that I'm aware of. So our recommendation on the next slide is to approve this application with conditions. Conditions being fairly standard: to obtain a survey for the right-of-way area, make sure that that right-of-way area is at least 1 meter away from the existing garage, and get a lawyer to prepare a certificate of official and authorize the ROW creation.
Okay. Thank you. Question, Counselor Thomas.
Thank you, Member. So, Michi, the right of way, I assume the current owner of that property is granting this right of way. Am I reading it properly?
So the, Vanessa, can we go to slide? Yeah, that one. So the property that is highlighted in red, the property owner of those lands has applied for the right of way for the benefiting part. So it's right now it's owned by the same two people.
Okay, Counselor Ackley.
No, looks like you covered all the bases. If they own both properties, it shouldn't really be a problem, right?
Yeah, through the mayor, it's just cleaning it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, making sure that they have access.
Okay, Counselor Hilton.
No question.
Counselor Jablonski.
No question.
Okay, and I just have a quick question. The purple lot piece is 0.32 acres. Are we anticipating, or there actually is a structure on it? And I thought our bylaw indicated you need to have at least an acre in that for. And I'm just a little concerned that we're making a right of way and it will be severed at some point when we have a very small lot. Am I right on that?
So the right of way isn't going to be severed. What this application is doing is it's essentially setting aside that parcel of land and saying this has to be used for a driveway. But we're not, based on my discussions that I had with the property owners, I don't anticipate any new structures or anything to be constructed on those two lots. Now, the zoning bylaw does require you to have a minimum of 1 acre for new lots. But if you already have an existing parcel that was registered before that zoning bylaw came into effect, you have grandfather rights.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, any questions from the public? Seeing none. I'm looking for a mover and a seconder that the consent application number B13-23W for the property located at Part Lot 1, Concession 14, north of Baseline, Wolf Island, Township of Frontenac Islands, municipally known as 262C 13th Line Road, for the creation of a right-of-way easement be approved, subject to the conditions noted in appendix A of the planning report, and that the clerk shall issue the notice of decision in accordance with the requirements of the Planning Act, including providing the notice of decision to the applicant. Any person or public body that made a written request to be notified, and any other person or public body prescribed, and that all conditions outlined in the notice of decision shall be completed, and the certificate of official issued within a period of 2 years after the notice of decision was issued, as required by the planning. Mover? Mr. Dalton? Seconder? Mr. Lonnie? Any discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Now, I have a motion to adjourn the public meeting. Councilor Saunders, seconded by Councilor Holton. Any discussion? All those in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. We'll resume at 4:30, which is 5 minutes at least.